Alrighty, let's take a look at Blender's green screen function, and we're going to try out for the first time today Blender 4.0. So that's 4.0.1, and I'm going to go over and add a video editing workspace. Here I am, and I'm going to call this scene video editing for green screen, which is what we're going to look at today. And I'm going to I'll start by bringing in a movie clip, and that would be found in this folder here. And there I am in front of the green screen. And so this clip here is a bit long. And what you do when you're going to do green screen is you do all your editing first, and then you make a separate movie out of it, because the green screen takes a lot of processing power in Blender. It's not as easy as working with Camtasia or Final Cut Pro. So come in with your raw green screen footage and select the audio and display the waveform so that you can see it. There's no talking that way. Let's see if there's any talking here. There's there. And let's scrunch this up a bit. So okay. So obviously I'm just having fun here. I start talking about there. That's when the audio starts. Make it a little bit bigger for you. Okay. And take both clips by hitting Shift and then hit K for knife to cut the parts out that you don't need. Grab it, drag it over. Okay.
So the P list is, to quote me.
Okay, and you see that it is looping because we haven't set the frame rates beyond this default 250. So you want to give yourself a good amount of frames to work in before the loop. It's about 7 minutes, this piece. 11 seconds and 17 frames. That's 12,934 is the number of frames for this entire 7-minute section. So let's just do that, 12,934. And then you see the gray looping area covers that now. And whenever you do something, I suggest that you save your file. So now
List. It includes substances or practices actively defined.
You can see that it's a little bit low, so we can turn the volume up. Whoa, not too much. There we go. That's the volume in the sound. These are the parameters over here: strip, tool, modifiers, and proxy. This is strip. When we click on the audio strip,
is healthy and safe for use. But he says, for the moment, passive redesign of the product stays within its current framework of production. We are simply analyzing.
And we'll stretch this out a little bit so that we can see
our ingredients.
Let me see if I can get this to, there's that. Okay.
To eliminate the bads and thoroughly weighted the grays, much less co-determined the incremental common sense positive steps that we could be taking that would get wide agreement and be implemented without much disruption.
All right, so there's a pause point. Again, if you're doing your editing, let's say that I wanted to use that piece, but let's say I don't want the rest of this. Let's see if I come in here. You should be marking this. So if you...
What is left once we have done so, and that would involve...
So you find points in the script, like what is left when we've done so, and go ahead and put a marker in there. So you want to add marker, and then frame 2163 comes in there, and then you can rename that marker. Let's see what it is.
What is left once we have done so?
What is left once we have done so? Okay. Let's see if you move this off of here and you go to rename marker. Yeah, there's the frame number. What is left? Okay.
After all, when the last time you were asked to help co-design your own optimal school experience, what is left once we've done that is step 4, activate the damn positive list.
Activate the damn positive list. Okay. And so that part there.
That is step 4.
Step 4, activate the damn positive list. So go to marker, add a marker, rename marker, oops, and then activate damn positive list. Step 4. So you can log your footage this way.
You were asked to help positive page 177.
And we'll cut that with a knife. And let's say that that's where we wanted to go, and then
We begin by applying the active positive list for existing things, but then
so we begin, so let's cut this. Let's say we want to take this out, take all of this and move it over.
we've done that is step 4, activate the damn positive list. We begin by applying the active positive list for existing things, but
And let's see if we...
then to things that are only beginning to be imagined or have not yet been conceived.
Okay, so we'll cut that there and find another piece.
But the designers knew better what learners need to know.
Come over here.
And so because this is my domain,
So we'll have to go from there because this is my domain.
and so because
So normally what you would do is you'd log the whole thing, which I'm not doing here, but just want to show you the basic idea. So that's a frame marker because this is my domain. And you cut together what you want to see in your edit. So we're talking here at about 1 minute. This would be a 2-minute video if we came up to here.
the post-school world.
So let's have it end right there after
Effective
school world.
principles here, we probably will fail out there in the post-school world.
In the post-school world, okay. So that's going to be the end of our video. It's a 2-minute and 5-second video. Maybe we want to trim it a little bit more.
This class, this school.
There's a lot of dead space in here.
This minute, this class.
Okay, so we can get rid of this with a knife, and then get rid of this piece here, and take this section out. Slide it over. All right.
This class, this school is our environment.
And let's see where it ends now. It's still not at 2 minutes, but we can trim out this back end here. So let's come over here and again hit the knife. And now we are ending at 2 minutes and 3 seconds. Looks like if we really wanted to get pedantic about it, we could trim out this part here. Because sometimes you're going to be doing jobs where you have to finish, like when I was in grad school doing commercials, it would be a 30-second spot or a 1-minute spot, and you had to, oops, didn't do that. You had to end where they wanted you to end, because that's all they had time for. So you had to get it pretty precise. Okay, so
Cool world.
maybe even trim it in the front end here. We can trim this, hitting the K key. Taking all that, bringing it over so that the first frame, hitting the arrow key here, first frame is a start of 1. Let's see. Oh. So let's move this over and move this over till it touches. Okay. All right, so we are at 160. Where's 2 minutes? So that is 2 minutes approximately. So maybe we want to cut even more out of this. Let's see if we can lose this entire section.
And so because this is my tool, is our environment. And if we can't apply eco-effective principles here,
No.
and so because this is my domain in the area of life, I and you can affect directly right now, this minute, this class.
Okay. You can get rid of that. Bring this in. So you make your editing decisions.
This school is our environment. And if we can't apply
And we have some gap there that we need to close. There's that gap. Okay, so we're under 2 minutes now. Then we have a coherent narrative. In fact, there's more to trim out here. Get rid of this. All right, so we have a piece that's under 2 minutes. It's actually 1 minute and 52 seconds and 24 frames. And that gives us something to work with. Okay, wait, this has got to come over here till it touches. Okay. And we've actually got some fat we can trim at the front. We're looking down at the book, so let's grab that. And delete. And let's move everything over. All right.
So the P list is, to quote McDonough on page 170.
All right. So we save this. And let's assume that we've got a video that we're comfortable with, and we just want to get rid now of the background and replace it with something. So the first step that you do once you have done your edits and you like what you have, it's the right length. And I would never recommend doing this for more than about 2 minutes because this is a slow process with Blender. But you want to first come up and you'll see we've got one scene, which is this video editing scene. Click on that new scene button, and probably what we want to do first is make sure that everywhere where the lighting changes, like there, it's a definite lighting change, that we have a marker, and it seems that we do. There's a lighting change there. These are going to be pretty complex, so let's put in another marker here. Marker, add marker, rename marker. Oops. I'm just going to put lighting change. And I'm going to move this marker over. Okay, so I have these markers showing me where there are lighting changes. And then I'm going to go and make a full copy of this. So I now have a new copy, but I'm going to call this one Green Screen Compositing. It's a new scene, and it looks identical to the old scene. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But in this one, I'm going to get rid of everything here because I don't need it. Just the markers remain behind. And now you can definitely tell the difference between this one and this one. And this is just the way Blender works. You have to have a new scene to do your compositing because you're going to add that into the old scene when you do your editing. And what gets confusing to people is this idea of changing scenes but not changing the workspace, because we're now in the video editing workspace that you can see over here, and that's because we were doing video editing. There's a lot of different workspaces in Blender. A ton of workspaces, right? And we are just using the video editing workspace for video editing. Each workspace can technically be done as a different scene. So we'll go back to video editing for this. When we get back to the green screen compositing, what we want to go into is the compositing workspace. So each workspace has, or each scene should have its own workspace. So there's video editing, and there's compositing. And when you're in the video editing scene, stay on the video editing workspace. If you're in the compositing scene, then be in the compositing workspace. That's the way that it works. And now that we have that, we are going to use nodes. And the first thing that comes in is a composite node, because we're going to be compositing. That's what we're going to render out. And a render layer, we don't need to use that, so we delete that. But we do add a viewer node so we can see what we're viewing. So you go to add, and then output, because we're outputting a viewer. Boom, like that. The viewer turns on the backdrop, and it's black. If you change the color, then you would have a different color for the viewer. So there's a viewer there. Doesn't matter if you keep it black. Just wanted to show you that you have that capability. And bring it down here. Okay. Because you're going to add a new node, which is an input node, and you're going to input a movie clip. And that movie clip is going to be the movie clip from your video editing. Got to go back to video editing. Now, to get this movie clip so you can use it, you're going to have to render it out first. Because you don't want to render out that really long video that we cut this out of. That would take too long. So, you go to this output here, and you tell it that you want to make a movie, which is usually an FFmpeg video, that you want to have audio in it. And so for audio, you want to change no audio to an MP3, and that you want to share this video of medium quality, which is fine, that you want to share it into a certain folder. And in my case, I don't want to use the default temp folder. I'm going to go to videos, and I'm going to go to my PCGS tutorials and go to here, and then video frames for green screen. I'll use this folder here, and I'll accept it, and then you have to sit and let this render. So go to render and render animation, and then sit back while, oh, there you go, okay. Sit back while it renders those thousands of frames. It does it really slowly. So we'll pause while that's happening. Okay, so we've rendered that out, and now when we come into Blender, we can go into this again, and we can drop that in, so we can add the clip. So add movie, and find that clip. There it is. And it comes in, and we hit G to move it. And if you're having trouble because of lag, then know that you can come in here to this clip and go to the strip time, and then move the start to 1. And you'd want to do that, of course, with the audio as well. So come in here. Now they're there, and
175, our positive list, sometimes referred.
So it is really slow because you've got that original frame in there. Also, when I did the render, I had the render set for too long. So I really should have set it before I rendered it to the end of the actual movie. Otherwise, it just shows black. So if I want to do this, this ending is at frame 3309, not 1293, 3309. So I should have set that right there. So that's the rendering area. But I can cut this part off and hit K. Get rid of this and get rid of this. It is now becoming a bit laggy because it has the old and the new. Let's put our waveform on. These waveforms should match now, but now this is one movie, and I don't need this original anymore. So I can take this original out, unless I wanted to continue editing. But I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. And now I have a movie playing
Production. We are simply
that has all the edits,
ingredients.
but I still have my markers, and that's the important thing. So I did that marking. So I have now a video that is substantially shorter, that has been rendered out.
Once we've done that is.
And so when I go now to my green screen compositing, and I go to my compositing window, the movie clip I want to use is that movie that I just rendered, not the original now. So go into the cradle to cradle. No, it's in the Blender video frames. So it's this one here. And there it is. Now in Blender 4.0, it shows the image on top. So I can see that. And that's what I'm going to put into the viewer. And it comes up, and then I go to View and hit Fit so I can see it. Okay. That is also what I'm going to eventually composite, but I'm going to do the same thing that we did for the difference key. I'm going to come over here and change this to an image editor. And I'm going to change this to an image editor. And I'm going to look in this at the viewer node. And I'm going to look at this at the composite or render result node so I can see how they differ. If I bring the image there, then they will not differ. But you have to render to see that because this is the render result. So render a single frame of this. Not the whole movie now, okay? And then you'll see the render result there, and having initiated that, now when you move your cursor around the movie, I'm supposed to be seeing something here. This is the dope sheet. No, this is supposed to be the video summary. And for some reason, did that do anything? I need to make this bigger. So it is playing. As you can see, it's just really laggy. All right. But it is playing. Okay. And they're matched. So now it's about adding another node, which is the keying node. And you can do just keying, if you like, and drop that in. And I really want to connect this back to here. Actually, let me take this out. The viewer. This lag is very disturbing, of course. But I do want to go from the image straight to here so you can see it, and then the composite has that in it. So I take my keying, take this viewer over here, That's what we're seeing. We're looking really at the composite now. And we're going image into there and then image into the composite. And now when you take the key color, you can use the eyedropper and key out the color like this. And there, voila, it disappears. That's how you do a green screen. So if you don't like that key for any reason, you can delete it, and then you can add another key. It has for keying also a chroma key. And if you put the chroma key in and go image and image and then pick a key color with the dropper, you'll see that that also works, but it's not as subtle. And then you have to work on the acceptance. It's not as intelligent. And so you can spend time playing with the cutoffs and playing with the acceptance, and eventually you can get a fairly decent key. That is, and there's also another key in here that you can use, which is the color key. And in here you can go and set that, and then go again and pick the key color. And it's not as good. As you can see, you can change the saturation value, but that would only work well if you had an absolutely uniform color, maybe generated by a computer. And so you can play around with the various areas with the eyedropper and see if it updates, but it's very hard. The color key is really for just solid colors, and a green screen with lights that are going on different parts of it is not going to give you that. So your best bet for all of this is to go to the keying that is the simple keying, like this. It's the most intelligent of them, and then when you do the image and you pick the key color, then it does the best key. Okay. Now, what is done when you do this is to go back to your video editing for green screen scene, and you want to add the scene that you just brought in. And there it is, but it's gotten a little big. So let's bring this on top. And once again, let's make sure that in the strip we go down and set the time to 1. I don't know why it's got all that. We don't need all that. And you're looking at it and saying, uh-oh, why am I getting just a cube? And that is because you need to go to View, and then from View you need to show in Screen Script Display, you need to show rendered. Okay. So you can see that this is what it looks like because it's green. What you were seeing in the background was the original, which I'm turning off here. And in this, you can take, we don't actually need this anymore. We've got the audio underneath it. So we can delete the video if we like. And we can replace this part here with some other image. So if we add, for example, a image sequence, and we find some picture that we want to use. Let's see, Pasco County, for example. There we go. Did that come in right? It's down there. It's a single frame, so I want to make this longer. And so in this image here, if I want to zoom in on it, I hit the period key, and then I can drag it out. But of course I can also do a start frame of 1 here. 1 minute. All right, and there we are. And then what we were talking about in terms of the cropping. So this should be moved up a channel. Let's move this up to channel 3. Okay, and then what we can do is we can come in here and crop from here. But of course, what we want to crop is the green screen. And then move this over to there, and move this over to there. And there we go. And we can, of course, take this and stretch this up, transform, and scale it in Y.
You made a turkey.
There we go. So that, and then when we render the movie out, then we have talking in front of a different background. Hope that helps.